Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, we're going to talk about a crazy puzzle where it's white to move and hopefully you can figure out whether or not they can win. Take a second, see if you want to try this puzzle out. It's a bit challenging, it's quite long, but I'd encourage you to pause the video, see if you can find the idea behind how to approach this for white. While you're thinking about that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber helps us out a lot. Okay, so we have a lot going on here. It's white to move, and the goal is to win this game. So a move like a4 is a terrible move because that's stalemate. Just to make sure the context is clear, black cannot move at all. Their pawns are gridlocked, their bishop is trapped in, and their king is entombed in the corner. So we want to make sure as white to push the envelope a bit. We're trying to push to see if we can win the game. So there's only one obvious move to start with. That move is either h3 or h4. Either way, they will result in the same capture, whether it's en passant or not, right? Same exact idea. So let's play h4. Looks nice. They take. Okay, now you have to start asking yourself, how do I unravel this as white? How do I slowly take apart this pawn chain and maybe break out of this and go for a win? So you're faced with a decision. You have the white pieces, it's your move. What do you do? Well, it's important to know what black is trying to do. Black's trying to give up this pawn. So if you make a nothing move, like an a3, they can play h2. You have to take it. If you don't take it, you're going to have to take it this way. And it's stalemate again. So you have to keep that in mind. That's their threat. So you don't play a move like a3 or a4. That's a terrible idea. Instead, you make a move that buys you some time. That move, king h1. Now, why is this move so great? Well, now they can spend a move. They can play h2, and in your response, you're able to meet their move with a move that creates an opportunity for black, not stalemating them, in other words. Okay, they're forced to take. Now, what do? Same exact idea. You just take the pawn. Now they check you. Again, this is a forced move. Only way you can do it. What do? Go up the board? Not going to work. Block in front of the pawn? That's stalemate. Go to h1? That's also not going to work because they can check you. Instead, g1. Same idea as before. You're putting this king in a position where they're moving the pawn and you're creating another opportunity for them to not be stalemated. Great. Is this pattern going to continue all the way up the board? How does that work? There's a bishop here. Well, you'll see. They take. You take. They play f4. What do you do now? Well, same idea. Don't go block the pawn. That's stalemate. Don't get into the way. That's just going to kill a move. Instead, get all the way back, as far back as you can. Give them time to move. Right? That's the idea. Okay, they play f3. Now here, this is kind of a whole puzzle on its own. What do? If you play ae6, that's a blunder. That's a mistake. You just threw away an advantage, which means you can win this for white, right? So why is this a mistake? Well, they can capture, and the short story is this bishop's going to get out and see a4. And you'll understand why that's important later. If you play up, they can play here, watching over a4, and no matter what you do, they're going to be able to take this pawn if it ever goes up the board. So just as an example, they can check you, you can run up the board, and they can give their pawns away. They can just play here, they can go back and forth. Because if you ever capture this bishop, it's stalemate. Like this, what can you do? Nothing. Bishop d7 is a nice move. You have to walk around the bishop, and even then, you can't make any progress. Right? You can never push the pawn forward because if you did, they just take it and you can't take back. It's stalemate. Hopefully you see the point. And the same thing goes with this pawn. You push this pawn with your king supporting it, they can just sacrifice. Right? Okay. So with that being said, after they play f3, you don't play e6. You don't want to move your king because of what I just mentioned, which means there's only one good move. That move, a4. Fantastic move. So what's the big deal with this? Why does this work? Well, now you're giving them one option. They have to play f2. And only now you can play e6 and get away with it. So what's the difference here? Let's talk about it. They take you, and now, like before, you take. And if they look at this pawn, you can just move it at the board, which we'll see in just a moment. They play bishop b7, saying, okay, I'm attacking your pawn. Only one move to not lose your advantage. a5, no kidding. Now they want to give away this pawn, so they play e5. That's one way to do it. You can also play bishop c6, doesn't matter. Let's play that one. That's the one I prepared for a bit. So the idea is I'm going to try to monitor this diagonal, maybe push my pawn forward, try to form some kind of wall. Okay, I just walk forward, totally fine. e5, creating that wall I was just talking about, saying I'm watching over these squares, bishop's watching over this square, I'm good. And here's what you can do. You can just walk around it. And if they check you with this amazing idea, super cool. If you take it, it's stalemate. Don't take it. Instead, just walk around it. So let me play that again. Up the board. I love that move. Because if you take it, you're in front of the pawn. And now they can't play here because you could take it. And this would not work out for them, right? So what do? Play back. And now you just infiltrate with your king. King c5. What's the idea? Well, they have to do something with this bishop. And they really don't want you getting into d5. Let's just say they drop back, for example. Well, now they're giving up d7. Well, how do you stay on this diagonal and on this diagonal? Well, you don't move, which means they play e4. Now you go back and you can start infiltrating this way. Do you see how you're slowly unraveling what their defenses are? If you just rewind it a little bit, look at where this started. You slowly broke down all of their pieces, all their pawns. So I'll go a little faster here just to show the idea. You're uncorking all of your attacking moves on them, trying to break open things. Okay, they play e4. You play king d4, saying, I'm going to attack this, run up the board. They play e3. They have to ditch the pawn. They're going to lose it anyway. Might as well draw the king back in the process. Okay, great, but how do I win this as white? Remember in the other position, this pawn was here, and I couldn't win it. Now it's here, and I can win it? What's the difference? Let's find out. So what do you do as black? You just try to hold. You just move your bishop. Try not to like resign, I guess. Don't resign. Just try to maintain. Well, you're going to lose anyway, but we'll see why. They move their piece back. Let's just say that. You can go anywhere, really. It's fine. King d4. They move here. You run up the board. What do? Important note. You don't take this bishop ever because it'll be stalemate. Instead, you make the super cool move of just going up. And no matter what they do, you eventually infiltrate. Look at the king. You're cornering the king, literally, in the corner, a8. How do you win this? What's the final maneuver here? Well, they do something. Let's just say they back up. I don't know. You play a6. Nice move. I'm going to put a little brilliant move on this. Some kind of nice. Yeah, let's put brilliant. So if they take this, this is going to be mate in a couple, like this. So they can't take it. If they take with the bishop, now you have d7 with mate to follow. Pick your favorite move. So what do? They don't do anything. They have to resign the game. a6, if you hold steady and do nothing, like this, there's one more cool move. d7. Now you have to guard one of these two squares, and this bishop can't do anything. If you take this one, that's a really cool mate, in my opinion. And if you take this one, that way, you queen. Or you can get a rook, even more. So that's the answer. White can win with this very complicated scheme. So make sure you understand the key point here, which is in the beginning, all the way over here, I guess toward the middle, this move of a4 is key because this was the difference maker. Getting your pawn to a5 means this bishop could never attack your pawn, and that's why you could win the game at the end, because of this a6 break. It's a really cool puzzle. It's kind of complicated, but then if you see the pattern, it's not that complicated. So maybe let me know whether you think it was really hard or really easy. One of those would be nice. Maybe somewhere in the middle. But yeah, A4, and then from there, so many ways to play it out. But I love this ending sequence. I'll just show the ending sequence one more time. This idea of moving the king around, that's such a cool move. D7. What kind of structure is this? No matter what they do next, mate on the spot. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much. Bye.